How long did the Granada remodel take? The doors were closed in 2004. I believe the construction started in 2005, and our doors opened in March 2008. There was a lot of processes that went in remodeling the Granada Theatre. And some of the processes were actually a consideration of really what they wanted the theater to be. And as the construction carried on, and it was always to be a state-of-the-art performing arts center, part of the discussions was what to do about space, because we needed to have space for dressing rooms and equipment and all that, and we were sort of limited by physical space in the 3 stories that we have here at the Granada. So the idea came up with actually to excavate below the theater here, underneath like all the seating that you see here on the orchestra level, to excavate 16 feet below and create a whole basement level that housed all the dressing rooms and some of our, the wardrobe room, rehearsal room, some equipment where we could store our equipment. And since we decided to go down, we have a building that's 8 feet tall. That involved a whole level of seismic retrofitting that originally wasn't part of the plan. So that was a little bit of what added to the length of the theater renovation. The most difficult part of the restoration, probably you could ask anybody and you get everybody who was involved and you get a different answer from everybody. Was to the paint on the wall. They had these painting restoration people who were actually coming in and chipping away levels of paint to see what the exact color should be. Where we're standing now, this stage, didn't even exist during the restoration. Because we decided to go and excavate 16 feet below, this was all just blown out and open to the back. There were, I'm sure anybody who was involved had to go through approvals through the city and all the architectural approvals, and to do something of this scale was an order of magnitude not even known. One little detail is, if you can see out there, we have windows in the doors to State Street. Well, that originally Granada was considered a historic building, so the city wanted to keep the building original to what it looked like in the early 20s. Well, it was solid doors back then. So a little thing like that, like the details on the door, to be able to have a window, to be able to look into the theater, was something that took a lot of time and energy just to get approval through the city. So a lot of the permitting process was difficult, getting consensus on what everything should look like. There were just innumerable details that I'm sure every step of the way there was some little detail that had to have a consensus, and whenever you have to do that, it kind of extends the process a bit. The remodel cost approximately $60 million. We have 6 legacy donors who donated at least $5 million to the project, as well as over 1,000 donators of a $5,000 level or above, so it had really widespread community support. Well, the original motivation in the 20s was a person, Edward Johnson, I believe was his name. He owned a California theater company. He wanted to build a theater, basically, as well as a high-rise. The whole thing was not a theater, but the whole building was basically to support a theater and film auditorium. The renovation, I would say the motivation to restore the Granada was based on trying to establish a cultural building, an icon basically, that would house all the significant arts organizations in Santa Barbara, performing arts organizations in Santa Barbara, and be able to house them all under one roof.